Good evening and welcome to the Recreation Commission January meeting. This meeting will be replayed via the Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via the Government Access Channel, live video on demand archives on the Town of Barnstable website. I will begin with a roll call, please. Just say here, present, how, or Happy New Year, however you'd like to announce yourself. I'll start with Tony.
Present and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Tim.
Present.
And I don't see any other recreation commissioners online yet. And Renee, present. So I will ask for a motion to accept the minutes from our December meeting.
So moved.
And a second.
I second.
All in favor, vote. We may have to vote again, but let's go ahead and vote. Aye, Renee.
Aye.
Aye. Tim.
All right. And so, very good. So we're gonna look to see if we have any old business. I do have just an update on an item from last month, and that was a discussion that I had with the folks that will put the mural in HYCC Core July. And the inquiry was, how could we include the community and the students and give the artists community an opportunity to expand its inclusive nature. And the feedback that I received was it is actually going to be, and most people may know this, a community project. So there will be an opportunity for anyone who is interested, including our youth, to be able to put together a piece of this amazing artwork. And they left it open to see if the version of the actual artwork is modified in any way, but they were at least open to my inquiry, and I plan on participating in that activity, and I'm going to encourage our recreation commissioners to also take a part in this pretty milestone kind of event of a mural developed by folks in the community and then artistically implemented with many, many hands. Any questions on that? I don't have the date when that project is planned to begin, and maybe Mark, you can, if you don't have that in our March meeting, give us an update on when the planned actual artwork will start. Does that make sense?
Will do. Will do.
Thank you so much. So any questions before I move to the next agenda item? All righty, so we have an amazing guest here this evening with an amazing project that I want to share with the recreation commissioners and our community. So it is with great pleasure that I introduce Bill Russell, and he'll do just a brief introduction of himself and then tell us about the project that is at hand. Bill?
Okay. Yeah, how about that? Can you hear me now? Sorry about that. Yeah, so Bill Russell here. I am a local Cape Cod resident since about 2014. My wife and I run the Pineapple Caper Cafe in Osterville, and we have a catering business there. And I'm also a cranberry grower. In fact, I'm going to share some information that at my harvest, the Rotary Club meeting, I left early to go do a meeting, but that I'll talk about in a minute. But let me share my screen, and then I'm going to. So just give me a second here. I can't do two things at once. Entire screen.
And I'll give you a thumbs up when we can see it.
Yeah, I won't see you when I go to my
Okay.
PowerPoint.
I'll
So
give
can
you
you
a
see it?
verbal.
Yeah, so
Not
can you
yet.
see PowerPoint?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay, hold on a minute. Technical difficulties, Renee. I know you don't like those.
But we can
Uh,
always handle them.
Yeah, just give me one more second here. So Chrome tab, how about this? Share. Can you see that?
It's coming. It says double click on your side and we are there. We see Island Pickle.
Okay, I've got 6 or 7 pages. I want to talk about a recreational facility that I'm developing in Mashpee. It's a facility that will be or is named Island Pickle. It's a large indoor recreational facility that will be both a membership and a non-membership basis to provide local residents and visitors pickleball, indoor golf, as well as a sports tavern. Now, I mentioned I jumped away from the Hyannis or the Rotary Club meeting in October to go do an interview. So back in October, Grady Collane interviewed me and it's a pretty decent 23-minute podcast video of everything that's in the facility. So I encourage you to Google Grady Collane pickleball and you'll see a few things. And one of those is a very decent overview of the facility. But I'll give you a little bit of that now. The facility is large. It's in Mashpee. It's on Evergreen Circle. Evergreen Circle is the road that Cape Cod's roasting facility is on, just off of Route 130. So it's in a great location to service all of Upper Cape and a great piece of Mid Cape, in that it's 11 miles from the Sagamore Bridge. It's 12 miles from the Cape Cod Mall, as well as Falmouth Center, and it's just in a very good equidistant spot. And the illustrative plot plan that I show on the site shows there's parking for about 91 vehicles, and it's a very, very large facility that's on 3.6 acres of land. All of my construction detail drawings are completed. I've advanced many things at the town level. Probably most significantly is last week I got final Cape Cod Commission permit approval for the DRI. So now it's off to the races to go through town planning at the planning department and then into permitting and in construction. All of that will take place in this calendar year, and I will open in the late summer of this calendar year. The facility is quite large, so it's very hard to kind of give to contemplate what its scale is, but generally speaking, it's larger than the size of a football field in total. So the length of it is 280 feet long. It's 175 feet wide, and it's a minimum ceiling height for the pickleball area of 25 feet, and the peak of the roof is at 34 feet. And this is, generally speaking, the front entrance of the facility. And there's this large outdoor patio here, which is enclosed, that will have access. And these doors across here, which you'll see in a minute, access some of the pickleball courts, but it's much more substantial than that, as the next slide shows. Inside, is this the next slide? Oh yeah, this is the next slide. So this is the interior layout. So this is that front door I spoke of here. If you can see my mouse, this is that patio area that I spoke of. And there's 4 courts here. And then there's another 6 courts on the right. So when a patron enters, there's all the pro shop and the locker rooms and the restroom facilities are all down the right-hand side of this corridor here. It opens up to a sports tavern, which is significant in scale, with a full restaurant, scale to simultaneously serve about 100 patrons at a time. And it's a sports tavern that will have a significant amount of TVs to broadcast sports globally, from opening till closing. And then there's an area in the back which will accommodate several TrackMan Golf Simulator stations. I'm opening with 5, and putting green area. So that's basically the package that is advancing through final permitting as we speak. If you look inside, just a snapshot of some of the feel of what it will look like. It's, I kind of dub it a very cool sports tavern. So those golf simulators I show, there's 2 2-packs and 1 by itself when I open. So there's 5 in total. And TrackMan offers a catalog of over 300 golf courses that you can play, as well as I'm approaching 60 PGA courses. And so I will open that up to recreational play. That's very, very real life and in simulation. The tavern will be sound isolated from the pickleball area. I'm sure many folks know that pickleball can be quite noisy, but it will be a fully sound enclosed area for the 6 courts that I showed a moment ago. But you'll be able to view them from windows that will be in the front. So you can sit and dine and watch the tournament play, or televisions. As I mentioned, there'll be 15 or so 75-inch televisions that will be in the tavern area for viewing sports and other entertainment activities through the course of the year. So this is what's under permitting activities. And what I like to say, you know, there's something for everyone here. So it's I don't use the word bar ever. A tavern is a different connotation in that it's a family fun environment, you know. And for those who know the pickleball world, there's a couple of slogans that I like to use. You know, one is that it's easy to learn but difficult to master. So you can literally play and enjoy yourselves on day one, but because of that, people of all ages can play. So there's another catchphrase of you can enjoy it whether you're 8 to 80 years old, and you can literally play based upon your capability, not based upon your age group, because it's a sport that can be enjoyed by everyone. On the golf side, I like to say that, you know, one of the frustrations that avid golfers often have is slow play driven by people that are learning to play. And while you appreciate their learning to play, you wish they weren't learning to play in front of you. So, you know, the simulators offer the ability to learn golf without slowing down the groups that are behind you, which is, I think, is pretty significant. And there's a series of leagues and open play. And I show on the right here what the structure will be, or what the offerings will be from a pickleball standpoint. So it's age-based, it's skill-based, it's employment based, and it's also I'm starting a nonprofit to service wounded veterans and first responders, and so it'll have an element of that. So, you know, leagues for all skill levels, the locker room so that you can play before or work or after work, before school, after school, and it's going to be open late at night. It's going to be open early in the morning, and it's going to be open every day. So, you know, you can do this on bad weather days. You can do this when it's dark or what have you. So that's generally the offering for what the facility will be opening late summer of this year. Said a different way, you know, I've spent a lot of time working through the Cape Cod Commission process, and I've spent thousands of hours, really approaching 4,000 of hours in researching this facility, of designing the facility, understanding what I can offer as it pertains to what's available locally, what's available regionally, and what's available nationally. And what I'll say is, you know, the benefits for the community, much like the things that you do through the rec center in Barnstable, offer many people many things. And I'll have a complementary capability to do that, whether it's discounted group play or age-specific events, social and community events, instruction and programs. But the things that I think, you know, I'm most excited about is, you know, I'm in 3 nonprofits right now, and the ability to offer those nonprofit partners the ability to do fundraising at this facility, so they can give back through whatever it is that they give back through. That's how I know Renee from the Hyannis Rotary activities that we are both very active in. The other thing that I think is pretty cool is that you know, there is no facility like this on Upper Cape Cod. There are a couple of indoor facilities on Cape, but they do other things as well. One's in Brewster, one's in Dennis, but they are different in what they offer, but they're very competent and capable things. But once you get up to Upper Cape, there's really nothing that exists. So what I want to do is offer to Upper Cape towns, you know, resident programs through the town recreational departments. And the same thing through the school systems. You know, everybody thinks that pickleball is an old sport, and it became very popular by the senior population, but the fastest growing age demographic now is under 35 years old. Now, the number 1 player in the world will turn 18 years old this month. And, you know, if you go to the West Coast, the teenage population is exploding on their interest to it. It's already a varsity sport in 2 states in the country, and it just in the fall was announced as a Western Mass high school league sport. So it's working its way to MIAA varsity program sanction level on Massachusetts. It's not there yet. But I'm not waiting for that. I would be working and coordinating, or I will be working and coordinating with Upper and Mid Cape schools to see what I can do that services what their needs may be, and grow together as we go there. And I mentioned briefly that one of the things that I have, and one of my investors is he's a disabled Army Ranger captain, and he's a very, very good man. And I talked with him about, let's form a nonprofit where we can provide, recreation, social activities to local residents, whether they're veterans or first responders with disabilities, to give them, some teaming environment and some other capabilities. That's what I can do through this facility. And I'm excited to have that be part of this activity as well. So that's really a quick overview of what it is. I have dubbed it, Cape Cod's premier indoor pickleball and golf complex. You could argue it's Cape Cod's only indoor pickleball and golf complex, but nonetheless, that's where it is. Dink is not a misspelling. It's actually the name or the sound that the pickleball makes when it contacts the paddle. And so that's a very common name for the sport. So the whole concept of dink, dine, and drive encompasses all the things I can do. You can play golf, you can play pickleball, you can come and enjoy the sports tavern on a year-round basis. So I've developed these companies. I've been the principal on working to make this happen, and I'm looking forward to provide it, to the community. And Barnstable will be part of that community that will benefit from this from a recreational standpoint. So those are the pages that I had to offer, and I'll turn it back unless there's questions for me.
So I open up the floor for questions from the staff or our recreation commissioners.
Yeah, quick question, Bill. Excellent. That looks awesome, actually. So you put a lot of work into it. Is that building existing, or is that something you had built?
It doesn't exist. So I'm purchasing 3.6 acres of land. It's a design new construction, and it'll be a brand new state-of-the-art facility when done.
Nice.
Mark or John, can you share, I think it's under Mark's umbrella, what we are currently doing with the special needs community? I want to make sure that Bill is aware of that program, because I definitely see some linkage with that community and this facility. So Mark?
With the special needs community, I defer to John. He's got the therapeutic
Okay.
coordinator.
Yeah, the ones that
yeah.
come and utilize. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, we have a Friday night social program that takes special needs adults out in the community. They go bowling, they go to the movies, they do all sorts of things. One of their big sports type of activities is especially special needs or Special Olympics bowling. But that might be something in the future when it opens that they might want to partake in that. Yeah, sounds like a interesting facility for sure.
Yeah, and I am interested in that. One of the things that I didn't get into it in the intro, but when to make room on my calendar to fully, embrace the construction and then the operation of this facility, I'm in the process of stepping away from our cafe. We've actually transferred the operating responsibility of our cafe in Osterville to our daughter. Now, why I mention that in relationship to what you're discussing is, she was a special needs educator for several years, and she's renamed it Rise and Shine. But part of the concept is she focuses on learning disabled residents to employ, to provide meaningful work for. So, very, understanding of what that community is, very understanding of what that community needs. And I think there's something we can talk about on a go-forward basis.
Yeah, it's an excellent program, and Bill, what I love about the program is that there are many services for the individual that has a special need when they're like under 18 or 21, but as young adults, those programs start to thin out. And the fact that your facility and the HYCC are programs that are there for them for life is pretty significant. So John, thank you for sharing that. Any other questions?
One other question, Bill, it looks like a great facility. Might there be opportunity for kids' employment? I mean, kids are always looking for jobs and they like to be active. They like to be involved in activities that are active. Might you be looking for help? And will there be job opportunities?
Well, the short answer is yes. It's a qualified yes, right? I've employed kids for the last 9 years at our cafe, and, in order to handle a knife, you need to be over 16 years old. I've employed kids as young as 14 years old. They need, letters from the town superintendent or the school superintendent or principal to get that. Very familiar with how to do that. And absolutely, the amount of hourly support in the sports is actually fairly small, but the hourly supports on the kitchen and the service areas are quite demanding. And as I'm sure you all know, it flexes substantively from summer to winter.
Mhm.
And that's when the availability of kids of all ages, up through college, down through, junior high school become available. So yes.
And I'll kind of jump in here a little bit to highlight some things that I know about Bill. It's not just your average employer. It's an employer that really cares about the individual with some mentoring and things of that sort. It's always important that our young people have good work relationships and good practices so that they they grow into that arena. Quite the contrary, when a young person has a horrible work experience, that can also taint them. So, Bill, I know that as this thing comes up and as you partner with the many organizations that support our youth and community, it will be for you more than a job. I think you're an excellent role model, and I have seen you in action and your caring compassion for the things that recreation commissioners are all here for, and that's the enrichment of the lives of the youth in our community. Any other questions?
Thanks, Renee.
Well, I am very excited about this. I
Me
had a
too.
glimpse of it in the early days, and can see it. So to hear the update is quite amazing. I look forward to you partnering with the um, Hyannis Youth Commission Recreation Center. I see lots of linkage. I can see this sport because you said it takes a little time just to learn, but a long duration to master. And what better way for a young person to take a hold on something, both pickleball and golf, and put in the time and seeing that the time and the experience are equally connected with how much you put into it. So if there aren't any other questions, I will say thank you once again. And
Thank you.
we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Bye-bye now. All righty. We don't have a quorum tonight. I'm not quite sure what happened with our folks, but I will do a better job in March to make sure that we have everyone on deck so that we can vote the 2025 officers in play. I do, I, I'm not sure, Tim or Tony, would you rather we wait for the quorum to do the nominations as well? I
I would
think
think
so.
so.
And I would also say that the good news is that we do have at least one committed and interested person in the Recreation Commission role, and there may be a few more, and that by the March meeting, which will be our next meeting, we should have at least some buffer so that if a member has a conflict, it doesn't prevent us from voting. Okay? So I will move from that item to Mark Bordley and the staff, your staff report.
Thanks, Renee. Happy New Year's to all. Go over this real quick. Administrative side, we've completed our decision packages for FY 26. Completed the budget narrative for the town budget book. And we've purchased new two-way radios or walkie-talkies for communicating throughout the HYCC. Many who don't know, upstairs, every place has our offices and a couple of our rink counters and so forth have phones. But when you get down into the basement or into the bowels kind of the facility, you lose a lot of cell phone coverages and stuff. So in the event of emergencies and so forth, we found it easier to communicate with two-way radios. So we made a purchase of these, and they'll be getting put to good use here. So the staff has better communication throughout the facility. On our ice news, we have the Swagger Cup that's upcoming January 18th and 19th through Cape Cod hockey tournaments. In preparation for the spring and into the summer, we've identified a chunk of time that we're going to be melting our Kennedy ice surface. We've identified that and already scheduled it. It's going to be late April 27th, I believe, after one of our last tournaments. We'll melt down Kennedy. We're going to do some new in-ice ads for some companies and so forth, and then we'll be getting that back up and ready for June as we will entertain some various camps and other activities on the ice for the summer. Also on the ice, the Great Blizzards of Mass Special Olympics Hockey have reserved 3 practices over the next 2 months. They'll be in and out of our facility. I encourage anybody who has any time and is around on a weekend, I can report back, I guess, with the actual dates. They're not on the top of my head, but it's a great organization. They're doing great things. It's very good, very warm to watch as all those participants get out and kind of get on the ice and get acclimated to the game of hockey. In the gym news, Mass Wolves, semi-pro ABA basketball team, had a game here in December. We'll also be hosting, I believe, 3 more games this upcoming winter. And lastly, we've reserved the six next Fridays. The BCIS school from next door will be coming over. They have their annual clusters where the HYCC hosts 5 activities for 6 Fridays that the school comes over and all the kids kind of do some different activities, whether it's ice skating, yoga, track. I think they have a indoor soccer for the younger kids and a basketball program. So it's pretty neat. Over those 6 Fridays, we get to see all the kids come over from next door. And then at the end, it's wrapped up with a whole school assembly. Parents come over and they kind of do just a great thing. It's their enrichment clusters and they hold all the activities here. So that'll be going on and ending in early March. And that's all I have for today. Trying to keep it quick.
So
Mark,
Mark,
what's
I'll start. Go ahead.
I just said, sorry, Renee. What's the Swagger Cup? I don't think I've even heard of that.
It's with Cape Cod hockey tournaments. It's their second year at it. They'll come in and it's for I forget the age groups. I think it's U10 through U16. They'll be Saturday and Sunday skating all day. On Saturday, they're all on one sheet, and on Sunday, they take over both sheets.
And it's run by Cape Cod Youth Hockey?
Did I say Cape Cod hockey tournaments? Sorry, Sean Cowing and his outfit, they're out of Down Cape.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So, Mark, I know that the school next door has this wonderful program where they take advantage of the facility because of their close proximity.
Mhm.
Is this something that could be modeled so that the other elementary schools have a similar opportunity? Do you see that as a possibility, barring there are some expenses that are involved in getting them there? But is that something that you see as a possibility?
Definitely. I see it as a definite possibility. In my tenure here so far, in the new role, I've reached out and this is actually We have this school, we have Centerville Elementary that comes. They just ended a 3-week stint of coming for 3 weeks. They brought about 70 kids each time. And just kind of reaching out to different schools, or if I know a teacher who's doing a different type of program. Sometimes they've, some of the schools or some teachers I know have reached out because they've applied for grants and are trying to get the kids out of the school to do different things. So it's really, at this point, I'm just knocking on doors and kind of reaching out to all the contacts I know, wanting to get all the kids, at least in that age group, the ability to get out and get on the ice, to at least see if they like it and if it's something they're interested in. What a great community to be part of, where you have this facility to come to, forever. So yes, I have been trying to kind of reach out and get more and more exposure to the youth of the town.
And that's something that I will give out to both Tony and Tim. That's an opportunity for us as commissioners to actually, go out and work with, a given school and start off small, start off with one class. But I can remember, I'm going to date myself, Mr. Lenahan, who was my junior high school principal, um, 8th grade, we had a similar program for, at that time, it was a middle school, 7th and 8th grade. And the last 2 weeks of school had everything to do with recreation. And so we completed all of our academic requirements. And those 2 weeks, you could try out anything. You could go and try out sailing. And for some, that might have been their first introduction. You could do synchronized swimming. You can do crocheting. You could do any of the art slash recreation. And I remember the impact that that had on me as an 8th grader, to be exposed to things that I would otherwise not been exposed to. And one of the beautiful things about our town is that we have so many resources. Now it's a matter of the reach to get those to our children. And the same story goes to, and everyone on the staff, some of the new folks in the town, the his name just went out my head, so Timothy, help me. The drama teacher at Barnstable High School, who retired out. I can't hear you, on mute.
John Sullivan?
So Mr. Sullivan, I remember working with him, and he had that same focus. So when the new auditorium at the Barnstable High School was opened up, his commitment was that every elementary school student in our town were bussed over to see the amazing production of The Wizard of Oz. And when I think of the active role of being a costumist at that time, for some of the kids, that was their first and maybe their only live performance. So again, it took one individual who said, "This is my commitment to the youth in our community." And I don't know how he did it, but he raised enough money so that money wasn't an object, and all of the elementary schools in the whole town were able to come and participate in a live Wizard of Oz performance. So Mark, I'm going to leave those two examples with you and with John, and see what we might make happen in the future. Any other questions? All righty. I will ask John, you're the next update, staff report.
Good evening, Happy New Year as well. Similar to Mark, our budget narratives and decision packages were due and submitted in. With the help of Chris Canella, he kind of took the lead on some of it. But I know Mark and I really had to work hard on our budget narratives to make sure those were all set. Early in the month, I attended the substance abuse forum and bumped into Tony, so we had some good conversations that night. Just plan on staying for a little bit to give the youth commission and George some support. but ended up staying the whole time and really enjoyed it. The police department and the ACEs, why am I drawing a blank on his name, but he did a phenomenal job like he always does. It was a good presentation. Let's see. I met with the Road to Recovery after I was invited to a disability commission meeting. And then after we met the first time, we kept the discussions open, and I met them at Lake Woquacket, and we'll be able to provide them some space to provide their program for their club. So people that are in recovery will have a chance to go out on the water to aid in their recovery to get better. And last but not least, kind of for the month, administrative wise, was we ended our year of tallying our evaluation scores from our programs, and we ended with a 9.8 out of 10. So kudos goes out to George and all our program staff, Kelly, Jack, and Mickey, that do a wonderful job. Aquatics wise, you know, I say at every meeting, our parking permits are on sale. Would love people, as the weather is going to turn, I think, really cold the next couple days. You know, while you're sitting at home, you know, waiting and thinking about going to the beach this spring and the summer, you know, 2 easy steps. You can go online and purchase it online, or if you're out and about in the Hyannis area, you can stop by our office, pick up an application, or if you have the means, you can print one out at your house and mail it in and drop it off, and kind of, you know, set it and forget it, you know, take care of it. So by the time it comes around, you already have it and you're out enjoying Mother Nature and the beach when it gets nice out. I think to date, I think since we last talked, we've doubled, I think, what we've done. We've done about 3,600 parking permits to date. And again, usually by the end of the year, we're doing anywhere from like 21 to 23,000 permits. So the more we do now, the better. Over this next month, we'll secure lifeguard date tryouts at the YMCA to make sure we're all set for that. February is you know, just around the corner, and applications will be available online for people to apply to work for us this summer in the next month. So we'll be getting the applications in, setting up interviews, and, you know, putting together a staff for the summer. Program wise, you know, we're heavy into basketball, kindergarten through 8th grade in the month of December. Our 4th and 5th grade boys and girls programs and our 6th through 8th boys programs formulated their teams. So Jack and Kelly have rosters, they have schedules out, so they'll be, as they're getting back now, they'll begin to start their games and get into some fun competition. We had our December vacation program, which this vacation program, if you don't have children or grandchildren, it was a very long school vacation, and it was kind of set up weird with how the holidays fell. So we kind of took 2 weeks and mixed up the days that we provided 4 days worth of program for the kids that, or for the parents that needed childcare for their kids. We did a second year gingerbread house decorating kind of a competition at the HYCC, where Jackie, who works under Mark, and Kelly, who works under me, they worked together to have this little event. They had 7 participants that came in. We provided the kits and the candy, and they had a good time putting it all together, and that was a good time. And then due to COVID, we started this holiday decorating lights kind of competition. It's kind of fading away, but we just want people to kind of post on social media all the cool decorations that you do at their house to kind of show people in the community their house, that maybe they live in a spot that you don't drive by all the time. I know there's a family that's worked for us for years that I drive home, and their house is fully lit like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation movie. It's pretty fun to see their house. But so that's kind of it. If anyone has any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
I just want to Having gone to that substance abuse seminar, kudos to all the people that put down the use commission and outstanding presentations. Something that you never know who you're going to help and affect, but I think it's worth doing. So thank you, John.
Yep, yeah, so Kevin Rosario, sorry, he was the name that escaped me for the moment. He did a great job presenting. Officer Dennis Stanfield presented, and then there was a number of vendors that were there as well. So if parents, grandparents had questions about drugs, addiction, and anything else, there were some people to reach out there at the presentation, so it was good. And as long as you're helping one person, you've made a difference. Would love more participation in the future, but the participation there was good.
So thank you, Tony, for not only attending that, but sharing with us that information. That was awesome. And thank you, John, for you and the team that put that off. I'm going to do a little one of these reactions and woohoo, that score of what was it, 9? What was your satisfaction score?
9.8 out of 10. I believe that was our score last year. We dipped down to a 9.7, I think the year before that. But I think in all my time as the assistant director, we've always been a 9.7, 9.8. So, you know, our staff do a great job connecting with the kids and interacting with the families. And, you know, it shows. It shows.
And I just want to
We always have room to improve. But the staff does a great job, and when we do get things that we can improve upon, we try to make things better where and when we can.
Well, congratulations. We as recreation commissioners see the proof in the pudding, and that's something to really be proud of.
Yeah, thank you.
All righty, so we're going to move it to the next report, and that is my liaison report from Sandy Neck. And because their meeting follows our meeting, I have no new news since December. The 2025 calendar has not yet been posted, so I'll have some information for this group in March. But I will say that if you have not visited Sandy Neck, it's open for all seasons. It is an amazing sanctuary that is within miles, within a driving distance for our commissioners, our staff, and our community. So I am so proud to be on the Sandy Neck board to just find out all the different resources that it provides. And the wildlife at Sandy Neck is just amazing. So if you're looking for a place to bundle up and take a walk and get some fresh air and beautiful scenery, visit Sandy Neck. So that's all that I have for that. Let's see what else is on our agenda for tonight. We have next month's meeting will be in let me go through this. Matters not reasonably anticipated by the chair. Are there any items that we need to talk about? Any public comment? Okay, John and I spoke briefly about two potential agenda items for next month, and if anyone else has any suggestions or ideas, this is the time. So the first item is the Hyannis Golf Course, which is town owned. As many of you know, the building had some pretty severe water damage in one of our storms and has been closed for almost 2 years. Well, that went out for bid, and the vendor who's going to fix the problems has been selected. So if there are some things that can be shared about the updated, new, improved Hyannis Golf Course. We're going to add that to our agenda in March. And then the other guest will be the two Rotary clubs who will be hosting their second home, garden, and lifestyle event, which was a huge success last year, on Saturday, April the 5th. So those guests will be here. Anything else that you can think of that we might add to our agenda? It's always great when we have an outside guest joining us. All righty. So without any further delays, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment, and our next meeting will be on Monday, the March 1st. We now host the Recreation Commission meetings every other month. That was voted in December, I believe. So our next meeting will be in March. And can I receive a motion to end our January meeting?
So moved.
And a
Second.
second. Thank you. And a vote? Aye. All righty. So I will close with another Happy New Year. Tony, you have a question?
Yeah, Ray, could you stay on for just a second after we
Sure.
close?
Sure.
Thanks.
Sure. So I will say thank you everyone for attending, and I look forward to seeing you. I'm available anytime until the next meeting. Sandra, thank you for all you do in getting our agenda up to the right folks. Good night, everyone.